Serious late night hikers, what is the creepiest thing you have seen while hiking? Not on a trail, but walking my dog late at night. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. My dog rang her bell and I begrudgingly got up to take her outside. When she wants to pee in the middle of the night, I don't take her very far, just in our side yard. I took a flashlight with me in case she decided to poo, so I could pick it up. I'm standing there waiting for her to do her thing. She is doing the doggy walk in a circle thing. Then all of a sudden the dog gets spooked and whips around. Out of the corner of my eye I see this chick just standing there. I didn't see her walk up. I didn't hear her walk up. I just see her standing there super still. Based on her position, she had to have come from between my house and my neighbor's house. Which is odd, because behind our house is back up to a green belt. It is probably 40 degrees outside and this lady, about 20, is in super short shorts and a t-shirt. I looked at her, told her she scared me, and she mumbled something like, "Nice night, what are you up to?" Standing there holding the leash with my dog, I said, "I'm walking my dog." Then she said, "Cool, cool. Do you know how to get into my house? I locked myself out." Pointing to my neighbor's house. Now, I'm a good American. I know my neighbors, and this wasn't my neighbor, who is a single 30-year-old female. She hangs out with my wife, so I know her really well. So I asked her, "That house?" Pointing directly at my neighbor's house. She nodded. I said, "You don't live there." "I know who lives there." She just scoffed and wandered her way into my backyard. I followed her, said, "What the hell are you doing?" She then took off running, scaled my fence, which item of note, it isn't an easy fence to scale. It is a deer fence. It is a see-through fence that goes up 3 feet with cattle gate. Then the top of the fence is stainless steel wire that runs horizontally. It is the type of thing that, if you weren't expecting it, you'd easily trip over as it is extremely hard to see, and not very common. Anyways, she scales the fence, and ran away into the green belt. I have no idea how she wound up back there, what she was doing, what she intended to do, but she scared the ever-living crap out of me. When my now wife and I first started dating, we would take long walks through our very small town. After I got off work at 11 p.m., we would wander through the cemetery, down little country roads, everywhere. But our favorite area was a large field, where the stars were incredible. One night we were watching a small meteor shower, and heard all kinds of loud grunting and ruckus coming from a tree line. We had nowhere to go, and we are starting to get concerned. A large, angry buck came out, stared at us, and then quietly walked away. I don't think we breathed for several minutes. I was convinced he was coming at us, and there was no way to outrun him. We didn't go back there for a few days. Spirit of the forest warning you to get lost. Usually, it's what I hear. Large, fallen branches snapping just out of sight of my headlamp. Or waking up an hour later and hearing steps and leaves rustling, but too exhausted and fearful to inspect or want to know. Probably nothing important anyway. One time I returned to my car after a late night hike with friends and my SUV was covered in foot, hand, and paw prints. They were just so large and even dragged a little in the dust. It was on / near a large military base in the mountains. I think some local enlisted may have made them to scare us. But it was just so well done. Pretty scary for all of us, because it's what you'd imagine the Blair Witch would do. No animal did it. Not hiking so much as car camping, but we were way the hell out there in the middle of nowhere on BLM land in Colorado. We drove for an hour and a half down a Forest Service road and didn't see another soul. You could see headlights and hear cars from miles away from our campsite. It's not like somebody could have snuck up unnoticed. We had 3 cars with us and 8 people. Just got done eating dinner, cleaned up. It was getting dark, so we went back to the cars real quick before hitting our tents for the night. Somebody had slashed the front right tire on each of the 3 cars with what appeared to be a box cutter. Everyone thought it was a prank, but it became very apparent very quickly that it wasn't. All of us were beyond spooked, like panicking, scary to watch spooked. We all had spares, and one dude had a gun. So we threw on our donuts while that guy literally guarded us and got the hell out of there. I still have nightmares about it sometimes. Just knowing there was some person, probably watching us, maybe wanting to harm us, makes me feel physically ill to this day. I was running through this little shortcut to my neighborhood on my way home from a good run. I was tired, and it was midnight, so it was pitch black. I had to run with my phone out on flashlight to not stumble. The woods has a cliff on one side to the right, about 60 meters in, and a mountain wall on the left about 10 to 15 meters in. Halfway through I see this bright light to my left on the right side. I turn around to look, and I see an old man about 3 meters away from me that I don't recognize from the neighborhood. He was holding his flashlight angled a bit up so I could clearly see him. He turns his light on me and just stares at me. I give him a "You okay?" look and he just starts walking towards me. That's when I decided to quickly finish up my run. Didn't look back, I just ran. Let's just say I set a new pace record on Runkeeper. You guys are kinda ruining my late night Pokemon Go hunts. It was less hiking and more of a late night walk. Me and two of my friends were walking along one of the rivers that flows through my city, and by the time we had gotten out of the city it was about 1 in the morning and we were in a field. We sat down on the concrete structure and started talking about stuff. After about 10 minutes we hear a phone ring about a few meters behind the structure on the opposite side to us. Then we hear someone try to frantically cancel the call. We were confused, so we listened out for a few minutes, but legged it once we heard movement. And as we looked back we saw a man walking out of the bushes. We were on edge until we got back to my apartment. It was around midnight in a clearing for picnics in a large park that lots of people hike through. Pitch black. No one around. I was with my boyfriend at the time. We got pretty frisky at one of the picnic tables, and I'm facing a river which is sort of illuminated from the moonlight. He's facing the solid black tree line. We are trying to have a good time and he becomes completely still, and in a low voice, says back quote, "There's a man coming towards us." I turn my head, see only a white t-shirt approaching us at a brisk walking pace from the trees, and that's all I needed to see. I ran, knowing my BF would catch up. He did. I was never down for midnight forest stuff again. Haha. The man in the white shirt probably got within 25 feet of us by the time I had my stuff together enough to bolt. Still freaks me out. He said nothing, just walked very fast towards us. Neither of us looked back. I drove to a park to go hiking at night in the mountains. So safe I know, and I hadn't even turned off my car and I already feel like I'm being watched. There weren't any cars around, so I thought maybe it was just me being paranoid for some reason. But for some reason I look to my right and I see this weird looking humanoid shape on top of the little bump hill about 50 feet away. At first I thought it was a weirdly shaped tree until I saw the arms move. No wind at all. So now I know there's a person staring at my car trying not to move, for what I assume is for me to get out of my car and leave to a more secluded area as we were next to the road. Of course I left. I don't go hiking at night in that particular park anymore. Obviously Bigfoot. I used to often spend my summers bouldering with my friends by a relatively large forest that was about an hour and a half away from where I used to live. We used to spend some of the nights camping out there just to save some travel costs and time. Anyway, I think this was roughly like the third or fourth time we were out there camping. My friend had left all her climbing gear and her rucksack just outside her tent, or we definitely think she did anyway. The next morning we found her boots, a few clothes and all her chalk powder had disappeared. We figured that it could have been completely feasible that she misplaced it. Although we were quite sure that they were next to her tent, we didn't really want to believe that they were stolen. Anyway, we didn't read too much into this and just stupidly said to ourselves that perhaps she had left it by the boulders and some animal took an interest to it. I know it sounds stupid, but it was very reasonable to us at the time. Anyway, fast forward a year, we are at the same spot as usual, sitting by the tents and chilling after having some food. Mind you, it's pitch black out and only the camp area is lit by the fire. I go somewhere a bit out of sight for a slash, and what do I see? A dude in a full-on ghillie suit laying on his stomach looking right towards our campsite. I kinda stood there frozen as this dude clocks that I've seen him, and he just bolts it out of there. I don't know whether the event of the year prior was related to the ghillie guy, but this definitely has stuck to all of us. We haven't been back there since, which is a damn shame. Thank you for watching AskReddit. Please like, share and subscribe.